So why did I start making maple syrup? Because I moved into my property in 2001, and by 2014 I was looking at those maple trees along the side of my property wondering what could I do with them, and all of a sudden it hit. I could make maple syrup. That's why. There wasn't a lot of information to be found then. Two old books from the early 80s in the library. Actually, I really enjoyed those. And not much on the internet back then. I eventually found one group of maple people, and now, of course, there are many. And I'm in a Minnesota Maple Makers group, which is really fun. I started with old spiles I bought from West Virginia that were falling apart and buckets that were attached to the tree with a nail. There were no covers, it was a mess, and they got rain in them. Nowadays, I use tubing into buckets that have specifically drilled holes that don't allow rain in, and they have covers. It's amazing how great it gets if you keep doing something for a while and you learn how to do it better. You don't know what soot is until you start cooking over a fire for days on end. I couldn't figure out how to clean this up and went through a lot of SOS pads at first. Just this year, my nephew taught me how to use varnish remover pads on my drill. Just call me Tim the Tool Man in girl form because now I know how to do things without working harder. People often ask me, what is reverse osmosis and why do you use it for maple syrup making? Well, reverse osmosis is usually used to purify your water under your sink or wherever you use it. In our case, we use it to take the water out of our impurities. We keep the impurities, which is the maple sap, and throw away the water, which would otherwise have to be boiled out. See, it works both ways.
We collect our sap in these 40-gallon containers, and as you can see, it's just got a little bit in the first day. Actually, not a horrible first day, but oh, if it had frozen last night, it would be far better. It only got down to 34 and it was warm yesterday, so this is not a great sap day when those things happen. We'll see how tomorrow goes. This is the 10th of March, 2025.
After all these years, I've worked myself up to two fire pits and seven working pans. So we have to work a little bit to keep the fire going, which you have to feed all the time, and to keep all these pots going with the right amount of sap in them. It's a lot of work and a lot of fun.
And this is how much sap we have again, 2 days after I got the last batch of 12 jars done. Here we go again come Monday.
Yes, it is my fault. I'm both a beekeeper and a maple syrup maker, so I'm the one that brings you snow after snow after snow in March and April. Just thank me later. Another great reason that we do maple is because we have so much wood in this backyard. I have over 60 trees. Several of them seem to need to be cut down on a regular basis, and we have lots of dead wood. So, why not for my 60th birthday buy myself a log splitter and then we can just make it easier work? We enjoy it as neighbors and we just enjoy the great outdoors together.
It is 4:30 and look at the flow today after that big snow yesterday. The trees are running like crazy. Boil number 4. This is the end of the day. We've been going all day so far. Still have a long way to go. We're working on 75 gallons, but I'm not going to get it done. Well, we probably got about 50 done though, and that's pretty good.
The tranquility of sunset and a beautiful mapling spring day is just phenomenal.
Look what I would have missed if I wasn't out doing maple. The most beautiful moon. I love spring. It is an absolutely beautiful day on March 26, 2025 while I boil. I've been out here since 7:48 this morning, and it is much later than that. It's the early afternoon, about 1:30. We are getting close though. I have gotten done with one of my large containers, and I'm just at the very bottom of the other one. So just a few more hours of boiling, and then we can move into the house to finish it. After about 8 hours, maybe 8.5 hours of boiling, we're down to this much sap, which is getting closer to syrup. When I'm done, it's probably going to fit in the top 2 containers on this picture, so I still have a ways to go. Before every boil, I strain the cold sap and the warm sap if I'm reboiling again after I've had to turn it off for a while. It makes the final strain, when you have to go through a very thick weave cloth, a lot easier. And at the end of these bottles, there is so much sediment. Now I'm warming it up in my canning pot, which is always so good at the end. And I will show you now the hydrometer and the hydrometer cup. This is how I test when the syrup is done. This is the cup that I dump syrup into up to a certain level, almost full. And then I take out my hydrometer, which is like a thermometer. I'll show you what this is. I got to be so careful because if you even touch it wrong, it breaks and then you don't have what you need right when you need it. I broke one last year. I broke one the year before. This is the hydrometer. Very expensive too, of course. And you have to see these red lines right here. You have to get the maple between those red lines for it to be done. When I fill the cup and this floats at a level between the 2 red marks, I know that my syrup is done. And then I can strain it, warm it up again, and bottle it. We're getting a lot closer, but we're still not done. You now see how long the maple syrup process is and why in the world it costs so much to buy the maple that you buy. And I'm telling you, from what I'm smelling in my kitchen as this boils, it is so aromatic, it's unbelievable. I love this process, even if it takes forever. At 2 hours in on the boil today, I see that we are getting very close. The bubbles are starting to change, and as soon as they get super tiny, I know we're there. All right, I just filled the cup for the first time from this batch right here. Totally amazed. I've never had that happen where I fill it and it is ready right now. We are going to start straining it. Pretty soon we will have maple syrup. Now this is where it's like watching paint dry. You're waiting for it to get through the final filter. This is a very heavy Orlon fabric filter, and it's a little stained from years gone by, but it is showing you just how much maple is left in there that I have to wait. It's probably going to be another hour before it's ready to be warmed up again and put in the bottles that I have sterilized right over here. But until then, I get to watch this. All right, we are to the final part. We are going to work on getting this bottled now. I have to heat this up to between 180 degrees and 195. I have found that even though it says on the internet 195 degrees, if you do that, you have a bunch of crystallized sugar in the bottom of your container, and you're not happy in the end because you only get a little bit of syrup. So I heat just a little bit above 180. They say to go to 180 because then you sterilize your jars. Well, I pre-sterilize my jars because I don't want to take any chances. So 180 should be just about fine. I usually try to go to about 182 just to be sure, and then bottle her up. We'll see how it goes. About every third jar that I fill, I grab the cap and I get the bottles as full as I can because they do shrink as they cool. I put the caps on, and the caps have the automatic thing that will, when you unscrew it later, it will keep the bottom on it so you know that you had a really good seal on it. So here we go. And then the next thing I have to do is lay them down for 10 minutes because we want the cap to get completely sterilized also. After we've done so much already, we're not done yet because I'm not wasting the maple in this pan. I brewed some, in this case, Bones maple bacon coffee. I bought someone as a gift and they were nice enough to share it back with me. I'm dumping coffee in here. Super fresh, new coffee. I'm swirling around, and then I'm going to have a cup of really awesome maple bacon coffee with just a little extra maple mixed in. So if you're going to spend all this time creating your beautiful maple, you better get a good label for it too. I went on the internet, figured out how to design one, sent it in, and got these back. I've never been unhappy with that result. I really love these labels.